This woman thought she bought a puppy. However, she ended up with something straight out of the wild. Miss Wang from Xinjiang, a city located in the Chinese province of Shaanxi, was in search of a puppy. The idea of having a companion she could care for day in and day out got her so excited, she knew she had to do something about it. She especially liked the Japanese Spitz, so she started doing some research about the breed. On several occasions, Miss Wang ventured out to the local animal shelters or called up breeders. While many of the dogs she met were cute, she never felt the connection that she was looking for in a pet. But just when she thought she might be dogless forever, one of her friends passed on a recommendation that would seem too good to be true. The recommendation was a unique pet store specializing specifically in helping Japanese Spitzes find homes. The Japanese Spitz is among the most popular breeds in all of Asia. These compact dogs are very intelligent and make for very loyal pets, which sounded pretty ideal to Wang. However, these dogs are usually quite rare and expensive, so if she wanted one, she'd have to purchase the puppy from this particular store. Seeing as the breed was one of her favorites, Miss Wang was elated by the news. She looked at the pet shop's website and knew immediately that she'd need to see one of the puppies in person. And she was right. When she went to visit, one of the puppies struck her with a feeling that she'd never felt in her life. When Miss Wang walked into the pet store that day, she hadn't necessarily intended on making a purchase, but one puppy stole her heart at first glance. There was something special about him. Not only was he cuter than any puppy she'd ever seen, but the little dog also held eye contact with her. She couldn't help herself from snapping some pictures of the little puppy and posting them on social media for her friends to see. Even amid the excitement, Miss Wang knew that she had to take this dog home with her. She was expecting to pay quite a hefty sum for this little dog. However, when she asked the shopkeeper how much the dog would cost, he gave her a price that she just couldn't wrap her head around. Miss Wang couldn't believe it when the shopkeeper told her that the puppy would only cost the equivalent of $190. Usually, such a low price for something worth so much would raise a few red flags. However, since the shop was recommended to her by her friend, she decided not to worry about it. Coincidentally, that same friend would soon begin showing concern for Miss Wang's new puppy. It's been said time and time again that love is blind, and in this instance, Miss Wang was a perfect example of exactly that. While she was living in bliss with her new Japanese Spitz, her friend began noticing a lot of strange things about her new puppy that went right over her head. One of her friends commented that the dog looked wild. Miss Wang was able to brush this off, as Japanese Spitzes are often known for looking a little unconventional. While she saw nothing weird about her dog in those early days, she quickly realized that her dog did have some strange quirks. As he grew out of his puppy phase, Miss Wang's dog began displaying some odd behavior. The first thing she couldn't help but notice was that he never barked. Her Japanese Spitz hardly ever released a single yap, which is very odd for the breed. In fact, Japanese Spitzes are known for being extremely vocal little dogs. According to All Things Dog, they're very similar in nature to Pomeranians and Samoyeds, which both happen to be considered very yappy. Additionally, other dogs seem to shy away from her little Japanese Spitz. Some of them would even appear to be afraid of him. Those two oddities aside, Miss Wang would go on to notice even more strange things about her precious puppy. One of the most adorable traits of Japanese Spitzes are their wonderful white coats. Despite how fluffy their coats are, they're usually pretty light. Miss Wang's Japanese Spitz was a very unique case. Like other dogs of his breed, he had a fluffy coat, but his fur was very thick and heavy. He was only a puppy when she first noticed this, and so she brushed it off. However, as he got older, the fur only got thicker. His tail also got unconventionally long for a dog, and his nose was getting pointier. It seemed that as he got older, the oddities surrounding the puppy only got more drastic. And the next discovery would really cause Miss Wang to worry. Miss Wang recalled that during their early days together, her puppy would eat dog food like any other canine, regardless of breed. One day, the little dog was no longer interested in it. He'd leave his bowl full. Her pretty puppy would rather starve than eat any of the dog food she'd leave out for him. Finding herself puzzled over her dog's change in appetite, Miss Wang took him to the local veterinarian. She could no longer tell himself that she had a normal dog on her hands. And at the end of the day, he wasn't very dog-like at all. As soon as the veterinarian took a close look at her dog, he knew what was going on. Still, he wasn't going to make any calls before getting a closer look at the dog. They took Miss Wang's beloved puppy and ran a number of tests on him. And just to be sure, the vet made a call to an expert who would have no problem getting to the bottom of her dog's strange behavior. The veterinarian called in a staff member from the city's local zoo. Surely a zookeeper who looks after a wide range of animals every day would have no issue determining the problem, if any, with Miss Wang's dog. He walked into the clinic and immediately was able to make a quick assessment of the puppy. It took a while to absorb the information, but Wang was told that her beloved dog was actually a fox. Learning that she'd spent the greater part of a year raising a baby fox definitely put her in a state of momentary shock. Suddenly, everything about her beloved pet made so much more sense. When the shock blew over, Miss Wang actually felt relieved that her pet wasn't an oddity of its species, but just a very normal fox. Still, she couldn't help but wonder how this little fox ended up in a pet shop's puppy pen. In fact, there are a number of people who end up raising pet foxes instead of dogs. This is reportedly the result of shady breeders across Asia who are quick to add a couple of cubs to a litter of puppies, especially if they're purebred. Oftentimes, they'll specifically target a litter of Japanese Spitz puppies, and here's why. According to All Things Dog, the Japanese Spitz is a hugely popular dog breed in Asia and across the world. They're compact, cute, and their puppies just happen to look a lot like fox cubs. A purebred Spitz puppy can bring in big bucks. So when dishonest breeders get a litter, they see no problem throwing in a few fox cubs to add an extra couple dollars to their profit. Miss Wang was told by the zookeeper that a fox carries within its body a certain smell that can grow stronger with age. The zookeeper also assured her that she was lucky that she never had to experience the smell for herself. It was clear to Miss Wang that the zookeeper was trying his best to talk her into surrendering her furry friend by bringing up the fact that a fox needs room to run and that he could become destructive to his surroundings if kept in a small space. Miss Wang was in a tailspin over everything the day's events. Ultimately, she would have to come to a decision over what she would do with her pet fox. While she did have some concerns over how happy her fox would be living in a house, Miss Wang decided that she'd stand by her beloved pet. But as the fox continued to grow, she started to realize that she was in over her head and that taking care of a fox was harder than she thought it would be. He had a ton of energy to burn and was slowly becoming more and more destructive around the house. While the average canine is prone to this kind of behavior too, a fox is wild at heart and can't be fully ever get to live happily ever after among other foxes. Ultimately, and luckily, a year on, dog food did little to hinder the cub's health. Today, the fox is living the good life within Xinjiang's local zoo. He's safe, fed a proper diet of protein and veggies, and roams freely with a number of his fox friends. He couldn't possibly ask for a better life, as he even occasionally gets visited by his favorite human, Miss Wang. As for her, we're certain that if Miss Wang ever decides to buy another puppy, she'll bring a dog expert with her, so that she actually ends up leaving with a puppy and not a fox cub.